My first tip for volunteering abroad responsibly is simply Google it. Google where you're going, Google what opportunities are there to volunteer with, Google which ones you would like to see if you want to volunteer with old people, if you want to volunteer helping build schools, whatever it is, Google it and really find reviews and see how it works. Here in New Orleans, there's actually an organization that I found called HandsOn, who's simply there to connect volunteers with organizations that need volunteers. Through HandsOn, you can find opportunities with organizations. You can actually sign up for shifts and you can log your hours. But that's in New Orleans. I don't know what it's gonna look like where you're going. So start with a simple Google search. My second step for you is once you find a few places, dive in and try those different places. Volunteer opportunities and nonprofit organizations are always looking for help. Another hand isn't going to hurt. So if you go somewhere, you try it, you do the orientation, whatever it is, and then you find out that you don't like the work, you don't like the organization, don't go back. But you don't know if you never show up. Try different places, try your hat in different types of volunteering, trying to help homeless, trying to help people eat, trying to help elderly patients, trying to help adults in incarceration. Like whatever you're passionate about, find those organizations and try them. And step number 3 on how to get involved is schedule it. If you're traveling, it's gonna be hard to stay consistent with anything that isn't scheduled. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if you really wanna get involved somewhere, make sure you schedule it. Set a date that you're gonna go in, a time, and repeat that, or find days that work within your itinerary and schedule it there. Be realistic. If you can do once a week while you're there, do once a week while you're there. Don't over-promise and under-deliver. Instead, under-promise and over-deliver. If you think you can do it once a week, but you end up coming in twice in a week, that organization is gonna be excited. But if you tell them you'll be there 3 days and you only show up one, then you're just a flake. Fill 2 tanks. You're volunteering. Find an organization that you can help fill somebody else's tank, you can help them out, but you're also filling your tank. Because if you're on vacation or if you're traveling long term, but you're going somewhere to volunteer, you want to be filled up as well. Don't volunteer for an organization who's gonna tap the energy out of you, tap you for all you're worth, and take and take and take. Get around an environment that adds to your life. That's part of why I love coming to Breakfast with Love. The people down there are amazing. The energy is wonderful, and they're genuinely there for the right reasons. Now, a few things to consider when you start volunteering. Number 1, be about it. It's about the work. When you're travel volunteering, it's not about taking the selfies. Capturing the moment is cool, and if you want to remember the relationships or what you had while you were volunteering, take a photo or 2, but remember, it's about the work. Be about it. You got to say that again. She was talking about, because this is about volunteering and travel volunteering, there's a lot of arguing between whether travel volunteering is good or not. And I think especially with an organization like this, it's super helpful, right? Like you were saying, like positions need to be filled. You can't, I'm gonna let you take over.
No,
you take over.
I do think it's super important. I think the new volunteers coming in and out bring new energy and fun, and the people here love it. I mean, they get to see new faces and stuff. We have our consistent people who are stable and they keep coming, but having the new people, they liven it up and they make it fun.
Yeah.
So
and I think one of the big things is that, like, the main difference in organizations, and the only time that I would say to be hesitant when you're travel volunteering is when there's kids involved or like a deep-rooted relationship. But like here, it's just obviously like we create a relationship, but you're not creating a relationship where somebody becomes like emotionally dependent on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
and it is something in positions like that with us. It is something for our more stable workers or volunteers that do interact in those capacities, doing the social worky type stuff, working cases and checking in on clients. But here, no, we definitely need you guys. That's it's a big part of this. So.
Bye, Jen. Man, it is not playing out there. It is cold for New Orleans. Anyways, my last point for what you should consider when travel volunteering is emotional dependency. you have to be aware of who you're helping and how emotionally dependent they're becoming on you as an individual. What I mean by this is if you're working with kids or really distressed adults, they're going to become dependent on you emotionally. If you're directly one-to-one interacting with them a lot, like teaching or any type of social work, and if you're traveling while volunteering, you're not going to be staying somewhere for a long time. So this is the one case that I would urge against you getting involved, at least in those positions. If there are other positions available that you can help out with while you're traveling, do it. But don't get into relationships where people are going to be emotionally dependent on you. When people are facing extreme adversity or they're really fractured and they're going through a hard time, they're clinging to things to find people to help. And if you're helping and then all of a sudden you're gone, it's going to be a letdown to them, and it could spiral them into a huge cycle of depression or other anxiety-ridden struggles. So if you're travel volunteering, I recommend and advise you not to get into positions where you are going to create a relationship that is going to have somebody else heavily emotionally dependent on you. Outside of that, get out there, volunteer, see the world, make your difference while you're there, help the communities, meet some wonderful people, and try to live your dream. I'm Ryan Fila. That was Breakfast with Love. I'll put their information down in the description, as well as the hands-on information in case you're local here in New Orleans and want to get plugged in. But like I said, you live your dream, and I'll try to find you there. I'll see you next time. Peace. So you gotta understand, Bob letting me in here is a privilege. He usually doesn't let anybody in the kitchen. And like he said, because he started letting people in to get a cup of coffee, then all of a sudden they want to cook. They're standing right in front of the stove.